Carbon emissions need to be mitigated on a much larger scale than what has been occurring. This need is illustrated by this short video segment about rising CO2 levels. Rising CO2 levels have been correlating closely with rising global temperatures since 1880. This graph shows rising CO2 levels on a shorter timescale as measured at the Mauna Loa Observatory in Hawaii. On an even shorter timescale, you can see average CO2 levels have continued to rise despite a global economic slowdown from the coronavirus pandemic, which is shown by the black line. The red line on this graph shows the seasonal variations. Fortunately, there is now a proven breakthrough technology that captures 100% of the CO2 created when generating power from fuels such as natural gas, biogas from landfills, syngas from coal, and diesel fuel. It is called the Allam-Fetfeld cycle, or simply the Allam cycle. In addition, there are carbon capture technologies such as Shell's CANSOLVE CO2 capture system that can be added to existing power plants. The captured CO2 can be utilized for a wide range of uses, including vertical farming as well as being sequestered in the ground. Shown next is a short animated video segment that illustrates how the Allam cycle works.
Net power uses supercritical CO2 instead of steam to produce power. Natural gas is combusted with hot, recuperated CO2 and oxygen, preventing NOx production. Burning with oxygen, known as oxycombustion, is typically uneconomic because oxygen is expensive to produce. Net power overcomes this problem by recuperating the majority of the produced CO2 into the combustor, dramatically lowering oxygen requirements. The resulting working fluid of high-pressure CO2 and water is expanded through a turbine and then cooled in a heat exchanger. Water is removed, and the remaining nearly pure carbon dioxide stream is compressed and pumped back to high pressure. Excess pipeline-ready CO2 is exported before the working fluid is reheated in the heat exchanger and returned to the combustor. This breakthrough process produces low-cost electricity, eliminates water consumption, and is emissions-free.
Shell's CANSOLVE CO2 capture system can be added to existing power plants to enable carbon capture on a large scale and is already in use in many locations. Since the Allam cycle technology is very energy efficient, using it when building new power plants is often the most cost-effective approach. Both these solutions enable several different sectors of the economy to work together to benefit the whole of society. Capturing carbon through these technologies allows oil, gas, and power plant workers to continue working. As well, it helps governments and companies that depend on income from fossil fuels to transition to a low-carbon economy, which is critical for obtaining their support for this transition. Power plants combined with carbon capture can play an important role in helping to make an electricity grid, which is supplied with considerable renewable energy and more reliable. For example, if wind power is not available for a few days, these power plants can provide the needed electricity. Since a power plant using the Allam cycle is very efficient and captures 100% of the CO2 created, it can also be used during low-demand periods to power direct carbon dioxide capture from the atmosphere. If this was done, this power plant would have a significant negative carbon footprint. Impressive new technologies are becoming available to enable low-cost carbon capture from ambient air. For example, carbon engineering has developed a way of removing carbon dioxide from outside air and has made considerable progress in reducing the operating cost of this process. Shown here is an example of a combined power system for maximum reliability with negative carbon emissions. The natural gas power plant running the Allam cycle enables 100% carbon capture and delivers power to the power management system. This power management system is also supplied with electricity from wind and solar farms. To help manage the power more effectively, this power management system includes energy storage to manage short-term power peaks or shortfalls. If a substantial amount of power is reduced for a longer period of time, such as if there is no wind power for a few days, the power management system reduces power to the direct air capture system of carbon dioxide. In this way, the power management system can maximize the reliability of the power to the electric grid. The carbon dioxide that is captured from the power plant or direct air capture system can be utilized in beneficial ways, such as accelerating the growth of food in a vertical farm or being sequestered in the ground. If this combined power system was implemented in many locations around the world, the scale of the impact on reducing carbon emissions would be extremely large, likely in the range of billions of tons of CO2 per year. Green bonds, which are growing quickly and totaled more than $295 billion last year, can be an effective way to finance these many combined power systems. Typically, green bonds are issued once a project is operational and generating income, so bridge financing is normally needed to construct and commission these combined power systems. This bridge financing normally includes at least two components. The first is the equity component that is provided by the owners of the project and their respective investors. The second component is a bank loan provided by one or more financing institutions, such as the Canada Infrastructure Bank. When the green bonds are issued to repay this bridge financing, they can be promoted to financial firms that are likely buyers of these bonds, such as the firms that have joined the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, which have a combined total of over $70 trillion under management. Therefore, there are existing financial mechanisms and capital available to finance large-scale implementation of these combined power systems around the world. Power plants with carbon capture are complementary to renewable energy solutions. Due to the urgent need for large-scale climate action, all these solutions can and should be implemented around the world as quickly as possible. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. If you are interested in more information, please visit climatesan.org/CEM.